Here, we don't just tell stories, we live them. Every week, we take you on a journey through exciting events, mysterious stories, and secrets from the past and present. Whether you're a fan of true crimes, ancient myths, or touching human stories, you're in the right place. Subscribe now and be part of family. Today's story is about Killer. He knows no mercy. Suddenly, the daily routine spiraled into a vortex of dread. 1967 marked the beginning of a grim tale. Young girls in the prime of their lives, aged between 13 and 20, vanished without a trace. These weren't just isolated disappearances that could be dismissed as runaways or youthful escapades. They were the horrifying prelude to even more gruesome discoveries. Each body found, bearing the unspeakable marks of torture and assault, screamed the name of the killer. Terror spread like wildfire, touching every home, casting a long shadow over every parent who wondered, "Will my daughter be next?" Every girl became afraid to walk alone, even to the nearest store. These crimes weren't just headlines. They transformed into a collective trauma, a daily nightmare that stained every aspect of life. Each victim wasn't just a number. She was a life stolen, a soul extinguished, a family shattered. The police, caught in a desperate race against time, found themselves adrift in a sea of scattered leads and scarce evidence. The killer, like a phantom, left behind only fear and despair. Exhausted detectives, their eyes weary from sleepless nights, turned over every stone, interrogated hundreds, chasing every glimmer of hope. But forensic techniques at the time were rudimentary, a far cry from today's sophisticated advancements. There were no DNA databases to unravel complex mysteries, no advanced digital fingerprint analysis. Investigators relied heavily on traditional physical evidence, witness testimonies, and at times, pure human intuition. Every lead seemed to hit a dead end, every sliver of hope fading into the deepening darkness. The pressure mounted from a furious community and a ravenous media. The entire town was under the microscope of fear, holding its breath, waiting for the moment this monster would be unmasked. Then, after 2 years of relentless horror, after exhausting investigations that nearly broke the spirit of the detectives, came the shocking breakthrough. A name began to whisper through the police ranks, emerging from the shadows where the killer had hidden: John Norman Collins. A 25-year-old man, seemingly quiet, unassuming, drawing no attention to himself. Who would have thought that this ordinary face concealed such absolute monstrosity? Collins, who had lived an unremarkable life in the heart of the city, suddenly became the prime suspect. As the police began to close in and the questions started to pour, the wall he had built to conceal his evil crumbled. His confessions, delivered like a thunderclap, revealed horrific details of abductions, rapes, and murders. This seemingly normal young man, this quiet neighbor, was the very predator who had terrorized Ypsilanti. His capture brought a temporary sense of relief, but it also opened deeper wounds for the families, who now realized the monster had been living among them. The courtroom transformed into a battleground, a stark confrontation between absolute evil and justice, yearning for retribution for innocent victims. John Norman Collins's trial garnered massive media attention, not just in Michigan, but across the United States. The courtroom buzzed with journalists and a public hungry to see the face of the beast, to follow every detail of this harrowing story that had shaken society to its core. Evidence was presented, some of it so gruesome it made stomachs churn. Testimonies were heard, each word adding another layer of shock and pain. The heartbroken families, with tear-filled eyes, faced their daughter's killer face to face, searching for answers, for closure to wounds that would never fully heal. The trial was incredibly painful for the families, forcing them to relive the most agonizing details of their daughter's last days. In the end, after deliberations, John Norman Collins was convicted of his heinous crimes. The verdict was definitive: life imprisonment. It was a just sentence, reflecting the magnitude of his atrocities, and it brought some measure of solace to the families seeking justice. But it could not erase the agony. It only confirmed the reality of an irreparable loss, a scar that would forever remain in their hearts. The case of John Norman Collins wasn't just a series of crimes that ended with an arrest. It was a profound turning point in Ypsilanti's history and in the collective consciousness of the entire nation. These tragic events forever changed people's perception of safety, illuminating the dark side that can lurk anywhere, even in the most serene and seemingly secure places. This case became an indelible part of the city's history, reminding future generations of the high cost of complacency and the importance of vigilance in protecting our loved ones. Today, The memory of those innocent girls remains vivid in the hearts of those who knew them, and their story is a painful reminder that evil can hide anywhere. It's a perpetual call to all of us to remain vigilant, to protect our innocence, and to always remember the innocent victims who lost their lives in this horrific series of crimes. Have we learned the lesson? Or does the echo of the past still reverberate through Ypsilanti's quiet streets, reminding us that tranquility can sometimes be a prelude to the most terrifying nightmares?